We only have 3 months to get to a point where we can take it on the road.
It can be frustrating at times. The challenge is to get the newbies up to speed, and that can be scary.
You fancy schmancy man, Cannes Film Festival.
Exactly. We're both doing okay.
Yeah. It looks like a nice spread there, man. You look like you've ended up in the right. This is like the penthouse of the Carlton. Is that where you're at?
Oh, very good. I just spoke to Kevin Costner, and this is the waiting room. It's late in the day here, so if I could pull Kevin Costner in, I would have. But
you just
anyway.
you just hid in the closet until Kevin left the room, and now you're just in his suite.
He's literally like 2 doors down.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. But listen, so I'm going to ask the most important question up front, which is, when did you decide? By the way, there will be people possibly coming through.
Oh, that's
as
totally
you can
fine.
probably see. Right. When did you decide that you would only do airplane films? We have Devotion, Top Gun Maverick, and now producing this.
After being around Tom Cruise on Top Gun Maverick, it's impossible to not catch the aviation bug. And the best part about it is, while we were shooting that movie, you're filming on naval bases. You're around the best pilots. You're flying with the best of the best. So when you're flying with the best of the best, it's impossible for that experience to not be infectious in any sort of way, because that world becomes inspiring because you're seeing it at the highest level up close. So for me, I really got a chance to bring a lot of that, aviation experience to Devotion with different sort of planes in a different era, in a different way, sort of in a different emotional context. And then with this, when this sort of opportunity came around and I was connected with Boss Wooldridge at the Blue Angels, and started realizing that those other experiences in the aviation community and sort of the relationships and the family that I had built within the naval aviation community, I could kind of take this family and this new technology and kind of put them together to give audiences a thrill ride they'd never had before. So it was just really, it's always interesting in this business how sort of things sort of happen and evolve at the same time. Did I think I was going to make 3 naval aviation things back to back? Absolutely not. But you know what? You always have to chase your interest in this business, and that's definitely one of my great passions.
Also, with this business, and I think a lot of people don't realize, like, if there's fire, like if there's an ability to get something done, you take it, because you never know where that opportunity will come from.
No, absolutely. And that's the other thing that is a very cool moment that I'm starting to realize is that, as a struggling actor who used to make calls on his own behalf to try to get acting jobs, to now pick up the phone and be able to actually assemble a team that is, has real weight and merit, in all these different communities, from, Boss Wooldridge to J.J. Abrams to Kevin LaRosa and Evan Fitzmaurice, the aerial team from Top Gun, and really put all these great minds together to, allow audiences like unprecedented access into this community, and really put audiences on that thrill ride. It's like, that's my new function and something that's been kind of a privilege in this new phase.
I saw this in IMAX, and the footage in IMAX is incredible. So talk a little bit about, like, what was your reaction? I'm sure you've seen this in IMAX by now.
Yeah, absolutely. The most incredible thing is that when I flew with the Blue Angels, I flew in the number 4 plane. So that's the 4 plane is in the center of the hive. And so, they usually put, people that they take up there in the 7 plane, which is really dynamic, but it sort of flies outside of the main grouping. The 4 plane does a lot of really dynamic stuff. It's sort of like the inverted plane and the double Farvel move, and it really does a lot of things that people that haven't had F-18 experience usually shouldn't be in that seat. But being in that seat, I got a sense of the proximity of that hive. And when people asked me what it was like, I was like, it's indescribable. It's really hard to put in perspective how close these planes are. They're literally scraping paint. They're so close. And so when this opportunity came about, where I was talking to, connected with Boss Wooldridge, who, expressed that he wanted to do a documentary, I thought about it and I was like, all signs have now. I was like, I literally know all the different players that can really plus this up and really make this a thrill ride. So, including my experience on Top Gun, where Cruise and Claudio Miranda, Joe Kosinski, Bruckheimer really figured out a way to separate that camera head and the camera body, where you could put IMAX cameras in places on these F-18s where you could never put them before, you know, and these IMAX cameras have gotten smaller and smaller. You can put them around the plane that doesn't affect the airworthiness. And in addition, you have Kevin LaRosa and Evan Fitzmaurice of Cinejet, who are now allowed to be closer to these planes. They know they follow the entire show. They're uninterrupting the show. They're not interrupting that show, but they are getting closer to those jets than any civilian pilot ever. And so what's really happening is this merger of this sort of this moment where technology is right now allowed us to give audiences that thrill ride. And then I feel like because I feel a part of the naval family, part of that community, we were allowed access to really get a sense of that human element in that cockpit like we've never had before either. So it's been pretty cool to kind of feel like the culmination of a lot of really wonderful chapters in my life.
What is it like for you? You touched on it a little earlier about struggling actor. I know you've been in this business for a while. To all of a sudden, I'm like looking and I'm seeing your name with The Running Man and Edgar Wright, or I'm seeing your name with J.J. Abrams. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The hell is this like for you all of a sudden to be attached to all these different things? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's wild. And I feel like it's something I'm still kind of digesting. I think it's fun, even like being down here in Austin, you know, premiering Hitman with Richard Linklater, you know, a guy I've looked up to my whole life, and getting to premiere our film at the theater where I used to do theater as a kid, you know, and getting inducted into the Texas Film Hall of Fame by Robert Rodriguez, who gave me my first job when I was like 13 in Spy Kids 3. So it's been an incredible moment in all these full circle, in all these ways. I mean, Edgar Wright, I searched Edgar's name in my email the other day, you know, because I was going to send him an email. And then I looked back at the first time I wrote Edgar Wright's name in my email, and it was right when I moved out to LA in 2008. And Edgar is on my wish list. Edgar's like name is at the top of like, who do you want to work with? And it's like Edgar Wright. And so the fact that, you know, I've been struggling to do this thing, and I'm getting to have these moments to work with people, you know, like Edgar Wright. It's like, it's incredible. It's extraordinary. So it's not lost on me that, you know, Hollywood is a place that can give you, it can take a lot from you, but it can also give you a lot. And sometimes you have to kind of trust in the marathon. And I'm really happy I've trusted in the marathon, because it's been, the delayed gratification of this ride has been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, I got to wrap with you, but just real quick, what are you actually filming this year? You know?
You know, what's funny is I'm in a couple hours, I'm on my way to South Africa to shoot Huntington. It's an A24 movie that John Patton Ford is directing. I will be there. That is the next thing I'm shooting.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man, I'm really happy for you.
Appreciate it.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks again, man. You're the best.